The old train station stood sentinel at the edge of Oakhaven, a town perpetually caught between the whispers of forgotten history and the hum of modern ambition. Its red brick facade, softened by decades of ivy, hinted at countless stories. Inside, the grand concourse, with its soaring, vaulted ceiling and stained glass panels depicting mythical creatures soaring above steam trains, felt like a cathedral of transit. But Oakhaven Station wasn't just a point of departure and arrival, it was a silent, benevolent orchestrator of fate, weaving together the lives of strangers in ways no one could have predicted. Our story begins, as many do, with a seemingly ordinary traveler. Ilara Vance, a young architect with a meticulous eye for detail and a heart secretly yearning for the wild, untamed beauty she sketched in her private journals, stood on platform 4. She was bound for the city for a soul-crushing corporate presentation that felt miles away from the vibrant designs that truly fired her imagination. Her briefcase felt heavy, not just with documents, but with the weight of unfulfilled dreams. As she waited, a gust of wind, unusually strong for the enclosed platform, whipped a loose page from her briefcase. It was a preliminary sketch of a breathtaking, almost impossible building, a spiraling tower of glass and living flora designed to mimic a giant redwood. The page danced away, fluttering towards the tracks. Just as Ilara braced herself to scramble after it, a hand, swift and sure, snatched it from the brink. "Careful there," a voice said, a deep, resonant baritone. Ilara looked up into eyes the color of polished jade, set in a face that was a roadmap of sun-kissed lines and quiet contemplation. The man held her sketch, his gaze lingering on the intricate details. "This is remarkable," he murmured, a faint, appreciative smile playing on his lips. "It breathes." He was taller than Ilara, with a lean, strong build and clothes that suggested a life lived outdoors. Sturdy boots, a well-worn leather jacket, and a canvas backpack that seemed to hold the secrets of distant mountains. His name, he introduced, was Ronan, a botanist and conservationist by trade, heading north for a research expedition. He handed her the sketch back, his fingers brushing hers, sending a surprising jolt through Ilara. "It's just a dream," she mumbled, a blush creeping up her neck. Ronan's smile deepened. "Sometimes the best dreams are the ones that beg to be built." He spoke with an easy conviction that made her corporate presentation feel even more insignificant. Their train arrived then, a sleek silver serpent gliding into the station. They found themselves, by pure chance, in the same carriage, seats opposite each other. The conversation flowed effortlessly, from sustainable architecture to the ancient wisdom of trees, from the challenges of urban sprawl to the quiet majesty of untouched wilderness. Ilara found herself sharing aspirations she hadn't dared voice aloud, and Ronan listened with genuine interest, his jade eyes alight. By the time they reached their destination, a connection had sparked, a fragile yet potent thread woven into the fabric of their separate journeys. Miles away, within the station's labyrinthine administration offices, sat Agnes Periwinkle, the station master. Agnes was a woman of formidable efficiency and an uncanny intuition. She knew Oakhaven Station better than anyone, not just its timetables and its personnel, but its very soul. She saw the quiet dances of fate unfolding daily, the subtle nudges that led strangers to shared benches, the delayed trains that inadvertently brought soulmates together. She had a particular fondness for a battered leather-bound ledger kept hidden beneath her desk, where she meticulously recorded these coincidences. Her predecessor, a whimsical man named Elijah, had called them Fate's Whispers, and Agnes, despite her pragmatic exterior, believed in them wholeheartedly. Today, Agnes was intrigued by a young man named Leo Maxwell, a struggling musician who had been busking outside the station for weeks. His music, a haunting blend of folk and raw blues, spoke of yearning and hope. He was saving for a ticket to a national music festival, a desperate bid for recognition. He'd bought his ticket from Booth 7, a booth with a curious reputation for sending travelers on particularly impactful journeys. Booth 7 was manned by Mr. Silas Blackwood, a man as old as the station itself, his movements slow and deliberate, his eyes holding an ancient, knowing glint. Silas had a unique gift. He could sense the latent potential within each traveler, the unspoken desires that lay beneath their conscious plans. With a subtle flick of his wrist as he issued a ticket, he could, ever so gently, steer fate's currents, ensuring that certain individuals would cross paths. He didn't intervene in grand dramatic ways. He simply ensured opportunities arose, often disguised as mundane happenstance. Leo, unaware of the subtle forces at play, tuned his battered guitar on platform 2. His train was delayed, a minor inconvenience that threatened to dampen his already fragile spirits. He began to play, a melancholy tune that echoed the ache in his heart. A woman, elegantly dressed and radiating an aura of weary sophistication, paused mid-stride. Isabella Rossi, a celebrated but jaded music producer, was on her way to a tiresome industry gala. Her phone, clutched in her hand, buzzed incessantly with emails and calls, each one chipping away at her passion. She'd heard countless aspiring musicians, their voices polished and their songs engineered for mass consumption. But Leo's music was different. It was raw, unvarnished, a cry from the soul that pierced through her carefully constructed cynicism. She found herself walking towards him, her designer heels clicking softly on the platform. Leo, lost in his music, didn't notice her until he finished, the last chord fading into the bustling din of the station. "That was real," Isabella said, her voice husky. "Who are you?" Leo, startled, looked up, his eyes wide with surprise. "Leo Maxwell, ma'am." "Isabella Rossi," she replied, extending a hand. "I haven't heard a voice like yours in years. Where are you headed?" "The National Music Festival," Leo mumbled, a mix of hope and embarrassment in his voice. "Hoping for a break." Isabella's gaze was sharp, discerning. "Forget the festival. Come to my office, tomorrow morning, and bring your guitar." She pressed a business card into his hand, the logo of her prestigious record label embossed in silver. "Don't be late." Then, with a decisive nod, she turned and boarded her now-arrived train, leaving Leo staring at the card. His world suddenly tilted on its axis. The delayed train had led him not to a festival, but to a potential future far beyond his wildest dreams. Meanwhile, Arthur Penhamagan, a retired history professor with a passion for forgotten lore and a keen eye for human drama, observed the unfolding scenes from his usual vantage point in the station's small, bustling cafe. Arthur wasn't traveling, not in the traditional sense. He was a collector of stories, a quiet chronicler of Oak Haven Station's unique magic. He had known Elijah, the previous station master, and had inherited his predecessor's belief in fate's whispers. He had a particular interest in Booth 7 and its enigmatic operator, Silas Blackwood, whose subtle manipulations of destiny he had long suspected. He had noticed Alara and Ronan earlier, their easy camaraderie, the way their conversations seemed to stretch beyond the confines of a single train journey. He had also observed Leo's passionate performance and Isabella's unexpected intervention. He recognized the pattern, the delicate ballet of connections Oak Haven Station's so expertly choreographed. He made a note in his own small leather-bound journal, a knowing smile playing on his lips. "Another batch of threads," he murmured to himself, stirring his Earl Grey tea. Days turned into weeks. Alara, emboldened by Ronan's belief in her dream-building, found the courage to present her spiraling, living tower design to her skeptical corporate firm. To her astonishment, and largely due to a chance encounter with a progressive, environmentally conscious investor who had overheard her passionate, impromptu pitch in the station's cafe, a pitch she almost hadn't made, her design was not only accepted, but lauded. She was given a small, dedicated team and the creative freedom she had always craved. Her correspondence with Ronan became more frequent, their shared passion for sustainable design and the natural world drawing them closer. He sent her seeds from rare plants, sketches of ancient forest ecosystems, and long, thoughtful emails that resonated with her spirit. Leo's life had undergone a seismic shift. Isabella Rossi, true to her word, had taken him under her wing. His raw talent, combined with her meticulous guidance, began to blossom. He was no longer busking for spare change. He was recording in state-of-the-art studios, his voice gaining depth and confidence. Yet amidst the whirlwind of his newfound success, he never forgot the feeling of that delayed train, that moment on Platform 2 when the world had changed. He often found himself drawn back to Oakhaven Station, not to catch a train, but to simply sit and soak in its atmosphere, a quiet nod of gratitude to the place that had kick-started his destiny. Arthur Penhaligon continued his observations, his journal growing thicker with stories. He noted how Alara and Ronan's paths had converged again, a chance meeting at an architectural conference, both presenting on sustainable design, of course, solidifying their professional collaboration and, more subtly, their burgeoning romantic connection. He chuckled softly as he recalled the details, sketching a tiny, intertwined knot in his journal. He also noted the buzz around Leo Maxwell's debut album, already garnering critical acclaim and hinting at superstardom. Agnes, the station master, occasionally glanced at her ledger, a quiet satisfaction in her heart. She knew the connections were forming, the lives blossoming. She knew Silas Blackwood was instrumental, a silent partner in Oakhaven's unique magic. She often wondered how he chose who to nudge, what subtle cues he perceived. She never asked. Some mysteries were best left unspoken. One blustery autumn afternoon, a peculiar incident occurred. A group of tourists, disoriented by a sudden, heavy fog that rolled in unexpectedly, missed their connection. Among them was Mrs. Eleanor Finch, a kindly but forgetful elderly woman traveling alone. She was meant to be meeting her estranged grandson, whom she hadn't seen in 20 years, at a small coastal town. The fog, however, had led her to a different platform, and by the time she realized her mistake, her original train had departed. Distraught, she began to weep softly. A young man, seeing her distress, approached her. He was a student, backpack laden with textbooks, on his way to an important exam. "Are you all right, ma'am?" he asked gently. Eleanor explained her predicament, her voice trembling. The student, whose name was Sam, felt a pang of sympathy. He had a few hours before his own exam, and he knew the next train to her original destination wouldn't be for several more. "Tell you what," he offered, "I'll help you call your grandson. We can wait for the next train together." As they sat in the waiting room, Sam helped Eleanor navigate her ancient flip phone. She eventually reached her grandson, a gruff but clearly worried man named David. David explained that he was already at the station, waiting for her. But which station? It turned out, due to a mix-up with the travel agent, Eleanor had been booked for a completely different town, 180 miles inland from David's coastal destination. Panic flared in Eleanor's eyes. Oh dear, he'll think I've forgotten him again." Sam, however, had an idea. He had recently learned about a unique car-sharing app popular among students for intercity travel. He quickly found a driver heading directly towards David's coastal town, leaving within the hour. The only catch, the fare was a little steep. Just then, Arthur Penhaligon, on his way to refill his teacup, happened to overhear their conversation. He recognized Eleanor from his observations, a woman who always seemed to lose something important at the station, only to have it returned by a kind stranger. He also recognized the subtle hum of fate. "Excuse me," Arthur interjected kindly. "I couldn't help but overhear. Perhaps I can assist with the fare." He offered a crisp 20-pound note. Consider it Oakhaven Station's way of ensuring connections are made. Eleanor, deeply touched, accepted with profuse thanks. Sam, grateful for the unexpected generosity, helped Eleanor to the waiting car, ensuring she was safely on her way. As the car pulled out of the station, Sam felt a quiet satisfaction. He might be a little late for his exam, but something felt undeniably right. Later, as he finally arrived at his university, he discovered, by a stroke of pure luck, that his exam had been rescheduled due to a professor's sudden illness. He had, entirely unexpectedly, gained an extra day to study. The delayed train, the encounter with Eleanor, and Arthur's kindness had all conspired to give him an unlooked-for advantage. Eleanor, upon reaching the coastal town, was met by a visibly relieved David. The long, unexpected journey, the kindness of strangers, and the small act of generosity had softened something in both of them. As they embraced, a 20-year rift began to mend, woven together by the unexpected journey orchestrated by a bustling train station and a thick fog. The connections continued to ripple outwards. Alara and Ronan's professional collaboration eventually blossomed into a deeply personal one. Their shared vision for a more sustainable future, their mutual respect, and the quiet understanding that had sparked on that first train journey solidified into something profound. They often spoke of Oakhaven Station, of that first chance encounter, of the way it felt as if the station itself had conspired to bring them together. Leo Maxwell's album soared to the top of the charts. His music, infused with the raw emotion of his struggles and the exhilaration of his sudden success, resonated with millions. He never forgot Isabella Rossi, the woman who saw past the busker to the artist within. Her professional partnership remained strong, built on trust and a shared love for authentic music. In interviews, when asked about his overnight success, he would often mention a delayed train and a conversation on Platform 2, hinting at the unseen forces that had shaped his journey. Agnes Periwinkle, watching the news reports of Alara's groundbreaking architectural project and Leo's skyrocketing career, would simply smile. She saw the long, bright threads of their destinies now firmly woven into the world's tapestry. She glanced at Silas Blackwood, who, now even older, still diligently manned Booth 7. He caught her eye and offered a faint, almost imperceptible nod. He had seen the threads too. Arthur Penhaligon, his journal now almost full, felt a deep sense of contentment. He had witnessed countless such stories, small and grand, mundane and miraculous. Oakhaven Station, he believed, was a testament to the idea that life's most profound journeys often began with the most unexpected connections, the simplest ticket bought, the slightest delay. One crisp winter morning, a new traveler arrived at Oakhaven Station. A young woman, carrying a worn backpack and a sketchbook, hesitated at the entrance. She looked up at the grand vaulted ceiling, her eyes wide with a mixture of apprehension and wonder. She had run away from home, seeking escape from a life that felt stifling and small. Her destination was anywhere but here, her hopes fragile, her future uncertain. As she made her way towards the ticket booths, her gaze fell upon Booth 7. Mr. Silas Blackwood, sensing her unspoken yearning, her desperate need for a new path, offered a faint smile. "Where are you headed, young lady?" he asked, his voice soft, almost a whisper. She hesitated, then, impulsively, pointed to a random destination on the departure board. "There," she said, her voice barely audible. Silas nodded, his fingers deftly issuing the ticket. As he handed it to her, his gaze held hers for a moment, a flicker of ancient wisdom passing between them. The young woman felt a strange calm settle over her, a sense that this journey, though chosen at random, was exactly where she was meant to go. She clutched the ticket, not just a piece of paper, but a launch pad into the unknown, a promise of unforeseen adventures. As she walked toward her platform, a group of people were gathered around a newly unveiled plaque near the main entrance. It was dedicated to the Architects of Connection, recognizing the station's role in bringing together innovative minds. Alara Vance and Ronan, now husband and wife, stood beside it, their hands intertwined, looking at the plaque with quiet pride. Further down the concourse, Leo Maxwell, now a global superstar, was giving an impromptu acoustic performance, his voice resonating through the grand space, drawing a crowd. Isabella Rossi, his mentor and friend, watched from the sidelines, a proud smile on her face. And in a quiet corner of the cafe, Arthur Penhaligon, journal open, observed it all, a silent guardian of the station's enduring magic. The young woman, still carrying her fragile hopes and her random ticket, paused to listen to Leo's music, a melody of hope and resilience. She looked at Alara and Ronan, their story etched onto the plaque, a testament to unexpected beginnings. A small, tentative smile touched her lips. She didn't know where her journey would take her
or whom she would meet, but in the echoing concourse of Oakhaven Station, she felt a profound sense of possibility. The old train station, with its quiet magic and the gentle nudges of fate, had, once again, opened its doors to an unexpected destiny, promising that every ticket held not just a destination, but a launchpad for life-altering connections and unforeseen adventures. The wheels of fate, driven by the timeless engine of Oakhaven Station, continued to turn, weaving an endless tapestry of human connection, one unexpected journey at a time.
Did you like my story? And which city are you listening from? Let's meet in the comments. If you liked the story, you can support me by sending a super thanks so I can keep bringing more stories like this. Thank you so much for your sweet support. I'm looking forward to your comments on the story. On the screen, you can see 2 new life stories that I highly recommend. There's so much more on my channel. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next life story. With love and respect.